Today we're taking a look at these NCAAF matches, which are happening on Saturday, September 4th, 2021, and giving you match breakdowns, betting tips and predictions in general on these games. Welcome back to High Stakes, let's get straight into it. Also, don't forget to subscribe to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos, and if you would like more betting tips and predictions, then check out our Patreon in the link down below. Our new Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. 5 plans are available for each and every one of you. You can get 30 extra betting picks all the way up to 270 extra betting picks per month. Stop wasting hours of your time searching for bad betting advice that ends up costing you a lot of money. Join the High Stakes Patreon now and get the best betting picks and advice. Oregon State vs Purdue. The Oregon State Beavers are not a great defense as they allowed 29 total touchdowns and 442.3 yards per game last season. They have a young roster, especially starting on the defensive side of the floor. Looking at last year's season finale against the Arizona State Sun Devils, the Beavers gave up 46 points, with 375 yards allowed on the ground. If they can figure out a way to force the ball in the air, which they are better at defending, they will be in a better spot to win here. How well the Boilermakers do is going to be dependent upon how quickly this defense gels. They have 4 new coaches joining the staff, and head coach Jeff Brom opted to go with 3 co-defensive coordinators. How well these 3 work together and what they are able to get out of this defense is going to be a story to watch as the season matures. The success of junior George Karlaftis is imperative as he struggled through an injury-plagued 2020 campaign, but could be a dominating force in games. My first betting advice is to pick Oregon State +7. Oregon State will have the passing game and the pop to keep up, but the Purdue pass rush will be a little stronger, with Karlaftis roaring back to his pre-injury form. The Oregon State secondary has decent parts, but it didn't get a lick of help from the pass rush last season, and there's still a question mark over the potential of the D-line. Give Plummer time, and there's going to be a problem for the Beavers. Sam Neuer takes over as the quarterback after transferring from Colorado. He saw limited action last season for the Buffaloes and has thrown just 160 passes in his last 2 seasons, throwing 6 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. His most extensive experience was against Texas in the bowl game, where he completed just 8 of 23 passes for 101 yards and 2 interceptions. If he should fail, Tristan Gebbia has experience in the Oregon State system, but they need Neuer to have a big year for this team to win as many as 6 games. The Purdue Boilermakers struggled a little bit on defense when looking at last year's statistics. They allowed 5.38 yards per play and 399 yards per game last season. They did, however, figure out how to limit the touchdowns against them, as they allowed 22 total touchdowns. My second betting advice is to pick under. Northern Illinois vs Georgia Tech. Former Michigan State quarterback Rocky Lombardi will take the reins under center for the Huskies. Northern Illinois has its top running back from last season returning. Harrison Whaley rushed for 456 yards and 1 touchdown with an average of 4.3 yards per carry. Receiving duo Traven Rudolph and Therese Richies are back for the Huskies. Last season the two combined for 829 yards receiving with 4 touchdowns. Dual-threat quarterback Jeff Sims is back as the starting signal caller. He threw for 1,881 yards and 13 touchdowns last season. Sims also rushed for 492 yards and 6 touchdowns during his true freshman season. My first betting advice is to pick Northern Illinois +18. Georgia Tech's offense is expected to be strong as quarterback Jeff Sims is back and has as many as 9 targets to throw to in a deep receiver core. In addition, Sims is an excellent runner who rushed for over 500 yards in 2020. The offensive line for Georgia Tech was weak in 2020, and the Yellow Jackets used the transfer portal to receive 1 tackle each from Vanderbilt and Norfolk State. Last season, receiver Malachi Carter had 290 yards receiving with 3 touchdowns, while Jahmyr Gibbs had 303 yards and 3 touchdowns receptions. Offensively, Northern Illinois does not have a quarterback on the roster who completed a pass for them last season. Michigan State transfer Rocky Lombardi is going to take over the starting job. He threw for 1,902 yards from 2018 to 20 with the Spartans, leading the team to wins over Michigan and Northwestern last year. My second betting advice is to pick over. Quick reminder, you can get 125% cashback bonus on your first deposit on our partner sportsbook BetUS after you open an account using our link down below and use our promo code HIGHSTAKES when making your deposit. Leading the Owls offensively is senior quarterback N'Kosi Perry, who transferred from Miami, Florida during the offseason. Last season, he had 348 passing yards, along with 3 passing touchdowns. After a quarterback battle during the offseason, Perry did enough to win the starting quarterback job, so the coaching staff believes that he can generate some big plays within this offense. Normally, 8-4 is cause for celebration, but it was the worst mark the team put up in the 3 years under Dan Mullen. There are a ton of changes on both sides of the ball, especially on offense, where Kyle Trask and Kyle Pitts are both gone. Florida brings back only 4 starters on offense and 5 on defense this season. Will the new pieces come together and help the team make another run to the SEC title game? My first betting advice is to pick Florida Gators minus 23.5. Leading the Gators offensively is junior quarterback Emory Jones, who looked fine in limited action last season, as he had 221 passing yards, along with 2 passing touchdowns. In addition, he had 217 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. Now, he will be looking to put together a fantastic performance in the season opener. Last season, the Owls were 117th in the FBS in passing offense, with 144.4 yards per game through the air. Florida Atlantic was 48th in rushing offense as they generated 180.1 yards per contest on the ground. The Owls were a miserable 115th of 128 FBS teams in scoring offense, as they generate only 18.9 points per game. On the plus side, Florida Atlantic was 10th in the country in scoring defense, as they allowed an average of 17.4 points per contest. Florida Atlantic started last season strong in Willie Taggart's first year with the program, but things fell apart down the stretch. The Owls opened the year 5-1 but dropped their final 3 games, getting outscored 90-44 after outscoring the opposition 126-67 in the first 6 games of the year. Florida Atlantic had their issues offensively last season as they failed to generate a ton of points or yards. The hope is that the Owls bringing back 10 offensive starters and 9 defensive ones can help the team improve in 2021. Florida Atlantic has a crowded QB room, and it will be interesting to see how Taggart utilizes the talent that they have to work with this season. My second betting advice is to pick under UTSA versus Illinois. Leading the Roadrunners offensively is senior quarterback Frank Harris, who looked fantastic in 2020. Last season, he had 1,630 passing yards along with 12 passing touchdowns. In addition, he had 528 rushing yards and 9 rushing touchdowns, so he can generate a ton of big plays in a variety of ways. Illinois won their debut under Bielema as they took care of Nebraska as they earned the win at home to start the year. The Fighting Illini trailed 9-2 late in the first half, before reeling off 28 unanswered points in a 13-minute span of the second and third quarters to take a 39 advantage. My first betting advice is to pick UTSA Roadrunners plus 5.5. My second betting advice is to pick under. Good luck to all of you. That's it for this video. Stay tuned and stay safe for the next betting tips and advice.